Somewhere in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, 800 miles from the nearest land, a man is lying in a 6-foot inflatable raft. It is the middle of the night. His boat, the boat he designed and built himself over years, is gone. Sunk. He has a spear gun, a solar still, a handful of food, and 8 ounces of water. He has already written his own epitaph on a scrap of paper because he is certain he is going to die out here. He has calculated that his supplies will last 18 days. And yet, 76 days from now, fishermen off the coast of the Caribbean will pull a barely recognizable human being from that same raft. Sunburned to the bone, having lost a third of his body weight, covered in saltwater sores, but alive. This is the true, documented story of Steven Callahan. And how he stayed alive in the open ocean for 2.5 months using nothing but his own mind and an almost inhuman refusal to give up. To understand what Steven Callahan was doing alone in the Atlantic Ocean in January of 1982, you need to understand what kind of man he was before his boat went down. Callahan was not a casual sailor. He was a naval architect, someone who spent his professional life designing and building boats from scratch. From the age of 12, he had dreamed of one thing: crossing the Atlantic alone. By the time he was 29, he had built his own vessel with his own hands. He named it Napoleon Solo, a small, 21-foot sloop that he had poured years of his life into. This was not just a boat. It was the physical representation of everything he had worked toward since childhood. On January 29, 1982, Callahan set sail from the Canary Islands bound for Antigua, a journey of roughly 3,000 nautical miles across the open Atlantic. For the first week, conditions were near perfect. Then, in the middle of the night, something struck the hull of Napoleon Solo with enormous force. Water was coming in like fire hoses. He had only minutes before the boat would sink completely. Wearing only a t-shirt, Callahan grabbed what he could: a life raft, a spear gun, a solar still to desalinate seawater, a small amount of food, and 8 ounces of water. He dove back into the sinking cabin multiple times, using muscle memory in the dark to locate supplies. And then Napoleon Solo went down. And Steven Callahan was alone. Fox News. Before we go further, if you're finding this story as extraordinary as I do, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We find these incredible true stories every single day, and you won't want to miss what's coming next. With all his salvaged supplies, Callahan reckoned he could survive for 18 days. He was 800 miles west of the Canary Islands, far from any shipping lane, on a raft no bigger than a small car. Nobody knew he was there. Nobody was looking for him. And the Atlantic Ocean, one of the most inhospitable environments on the surface of the planet, stretched in every direction as far as he could see. ABC News. The first problem was water. A human being can survive roughly 3 days without fresh water. The Atlantic Ocean contains none. Callahan's solar-powered desalinator worked, but very slowly, producing just a trickle each day. He became obsessed with rain. Whenever a storm rolled in, he spread out anything he had to collect drops. Every cup he managed to save felt like treasure. Some weeks, no rain came at all. His lips cracked. His throat burned. He rationed every drop with a precision that bordered on obsession. Wikipedia. The second problem was food. What little he had brought from the sinking boat was gone within days. And so Callahan did something that required both extraordinary skill and extraordinary nerve. He learned to hunt from the raft. Using his spear gun, he targeted the fish that gathered beneath his raft, drawn by the shade and the barnacles growing on the underside. He faced sharks, raft punctures, starvation, severe dehydration, and relentless sun. 3 times, sharks attacked the raft itself, tearing at the rubber, threatening to deflate it and send him into the water. Each time, Callahan repaired the damage himself, using a patch kit he had grabbed in the frantic minutes before Napoleon Solo sank. Each repair was a small miracle. Each successful hunt was a day's survival. Goodreads. The third and most dangerous problem was not physical, it was mental. Callahan would often think back to his divorce, failed career, and dead friendships. His memories often jumped back and forth until he'd drift to sleep with the same thought dancing between his ears: if he wanted to fix his broken life, he had to survive this journey. Isolation at sea is not simply loneliness. It is an assault on the mind, an endless, featureless horizon that offers nothing to focus on, nothing to break the monotony, nothing to confirm that the world you came from still exists. To survive it, Callahan imposed structure on himself. He navigated using a makeshift sextant he constructed from pencils. He maintained a daily routine of exercise, fishing, and equipment maintenance. He kept a journal. He gave himself reasons to exist beyond mere survival. Columbia, he wrote his epitaph on paper scraps, and then kept going anyway. Fox News on April 20, 1982, 76 days after Napoleon's solo sank, 3 fishermen spotted a small, battered raft off the coast of the island of Marie-Galante in the Caribbean. They pulled alongside it and found Steven Callahan inside. He had lost about a third of his body weight and had been living like an aquatic caveman for 2.5 months. He was taken to shore, treated, and eventually recovered fully. He had drifted 1,800 nautical miles, roughly the distance from New York to Los Angeles, entirely at the mercy of the Atlantic current. Fox News. In the years that followed, Callahan wrote a book about his experience called Adrift. It became one of the most celebrated survival memoirs ever published and has never gone out of print. When director Ang Lee was preparing to film Life of Pi, a story about a man adrift at sea, he read Callahan's book and hired him as a consultant, because he understood and could articulate the metaphysical experience of being utterly alone on the ocean in a way nobody else alive could. YouTube. Steven Callahan is now in his 70s. He still sails. He still designs boats. And he still speaks publicly about what those 76 days taught him about the human mind's capacity to endure. He has said that he does not regret a single day of it, not the hunger, not the thirst, not the sharks, not the loneliness. Because on that raft, with nothing left to hide behind, he finally understood exactly what he was made of. It was a view of heaven from a seat in hell, he said, 4 decades after his rescue. Fox News. We cover the most mind-blowing true stories from around the world every single week. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications, because you will not want to miss what is coming next. See you in the next one.